who vote do need accommodations. What type of support is available to them, whether they're voting early or on election day?
Sure, definitely. So for those that are voting early, they'd be voting absentee, either in person or by mail. They would be able to have an assistant help them with that process. That assistant would just not be able to be a representative of their union or their employer. And then the assistant would also need to fill out the assistant area of the certification envelope for that absentee ballot as well. That person can also then be the witness on that envelope too, so filling out both locations is important. And then an individual as well can vote in person absentee and have an assistant through that process as well. On election day, individuals can use the accessible voting equipment, which is at every single polling location. The election inspectors and the municipal clerk, if they're present, are all educated in that process and able to assist the voter. Voters are also able to take advantage of the curbside voting process if they're not able to get into the polling location. And they can also have an assistant in the voting booth with them. And again, the same criteria applies, not a representative of their union or their employer.
And I want to toss this to Lisa, Toya, Elena, any of you that want to answer, but specifically, can you talk a little bit more about that actual process in terms of having someone to assist you with filling out your absentee ballot?
So they can't vote the ballot for you. They can't make your choices for you. If you can't, you may be disabled or not be able to actually hold a pen. They have to follow that voter's instructions. They can't fill it out for you. Like, that's how I would vote. They have to follow the choices of that voter.
And is there anything that voters have to do at the polls to prove that they need that accommodation, or is it something that's open to all voters?
It's open to all voters.
It's open to all voters, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And also, it could be a language barrier. And so in Shorewood, we have a high Russian speaking population. So sometimes the assister will be there to just aid in giving them translations of what different things mean on the ballot.
And I just want to add to that, you spoke about language accommodations. What are some other accommodations that you've seen that you've had to kind of provide support for voters in the polls?
On election, we also have what's called Express Vote, which is a digital voting machine. It kind of digitizes the ballot. On Express Vote, it also translates into a few languages, and it does translate to Russian, but also the Russian dialect could be a different dialect, but it does translate into Russian, Hmong, Spanish. So those accommodations are there as well for voters who have some apprehensions about casting their vote, if it's in English, and they have a little bit of discrepancy of the different verbiage that's on there.
And even if they can't read, then they can just have it being read to them. So they make their selections, and it's basically just a giant pen. And it'll fill it in and give them a ballot that will be read by the tabulator then.
Right.